We begin this week's Torah portion after ending last week with Avraham's entering into the covenant with God. There are quite an interesting array of story components in this week's Parsha, from God appearing to Avraham, which gives us the name of the Parsha, Vayera, and appeared. Vayera elav Adonai, and the Lord appeared to him, to various further stories with Avraham, with Sarah, with Lot, with Hagar and Ishmael, and ultimately with Yitzchak, from his amazing birth to Avraham coming close to sacrificing him. I do think it quite important to note, though, that God never actually told Avraham to sacrifice Yitzchak. Avraham is technically not commanded to actually sacrifice Yitzchak, but only to offer him up. Sacrificing of children, as barbaric as it sounds to us and is, was quite common in those times. And this was an opportunity for God to teach and for us to learn that even though it was the way of the times, it was unacceptable, and we were never to so sacrifice children again. While most rabbis and commentators claim that God was testing Abraham's faith, there have been and are those of us who do not see it quite that way. Just as in this parsha with the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, when God was planning to destroy those cities, Abraham was willing and able to question and argue and try to bargain with God on behalf of those people he didn't even know. And God was appreciating and willing to accept his courageous and noble efforts. Abraham could well have again questioned or argued or bargained with God on behalf of his innocent son. But child sacrifice was so common in those times that Abraham did not question this. Perhaps God wanted him to, but in the absence of his so questioning, God so stepped in and did teach the important lesson. But again, to be clear, God never actually told Avraham to sacrifice Yitzchak. Important to note, albeit not the prime focus of these Torah minutes here today. Instead of focusing on Yitzchak's potential death then, let us, for now, focus on Yitzchak's life. And we have much to learn about and from Yitzchak. Yitzchak is the first Jew to be a Jew from birth. He is the first to enter the covenant from the beginning of his life. And yes, he is to be the last to ever come so close to being so sacrificed. While this parsha does include important steps in the lives of Avraham and Sarah, it is more so especially about the foundation that is their son, the next generation, Yitzchak. Yitzchak is not just the first Jew from birth, but he is thus the first Jew to be taught of God, of all of the goodness that God represents from the earliest days of his life. As from the Pasuk, chapter 18, verse 19, it may even be seen as the essence of what our Jewish existence is to be. Asher yitzaveh et banav v'et beito acharav v'shamru derech Adonai la'asot tzedakah u'mishpat, that he may instruct his children in posterity to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is just and right. That is to be our mission as Jews. The covenant with God that Avraham began last week, the covenant that Yitzchak is to continue this week, and Lador Vador, from generation to generation since then. It is our responsibility as Jews to continue this brit, this covenant, as it was up to Avraham. And then at this point in the Torah, it will be up to Yitzchak. It is now up to us to instruct our children and our posterity to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is just and right. V'shamru derech Adonai la'asot tzedakah u'mishpat. That is our mission. It is a mission possible, but it cannot happen, and it will not happen if we do not choose accordingly. As I have said before, and I will keep saying again, we need to be more good. We need to do more good. We need to bring more good into this world. The Torah is here to guide us so accordingly. And thus we read a portion each week to so inspire us, to so motivate us, to so guide us, and to so educate us. In this parsha, we learn the importance of emunah, faith. We learn the importance of bikur cholim, visiting the sick. We learn the importance of chanasat orachim, hospitality to strangers. We learn much from Avraham's chesed, kindness. There are so many important lessons we can glean from this Torah portion, as there are those in every other too. But the core sentence here that can be seen as a mission statement of sorts of our existence. Asher yitzaveh et banav v'et beito acharav v'shamru derech Adonai la'asot tzedakah u'mishpat. That we may instruct our children and posterity to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is just and right. Well worth pondering, particularly this Shabbat Vayera. And I wish you all l'Shabbat Shalom.